So here we are inside of a customer's home. We are located to the center part of the home, not to an exterior wall, which means that our dryer vent either runs vertically up between the center of the house and out the roof, or in this case, obviously, it could very well go underneath the slab in our part of the area. So what we're going to do is do a preliminary check to find out exactly how the dryer vent is connected to the dryer, or vice versa, how the dryer is connected to the dryer vent, and then go from there. So the dryer is heating up, and we can now proceed to remove the dryer out just a little bit further away from the wall, and then we'll begin our airflow test. All right, so here we are at the top of the roof. This is where the dryer vent exits the home. Remember, we have the dryer now on just simply for airflow so that we can take a measurement. What you see here is a gooseneck. This is two 90-degree fittings put together. Great for keeping out rainwater, but not so good in keeping out birds, but this is what the homeowner has. So you can see here, this is a very good indication of why we clean out dryer vents, especially with lots of turns or bends, because these are all areas where lint accumulates very rapidly. What you see here, right here in my hand, is basically an anemometer. This is basically designed to measure several things: velocity, basically the amount of airflow traveling per minute by the foot, so basically feet per minute, as well as making other measurements such as CFM, that's cubic feet per minute. That's volume of air, not velocity. And then of course it also takes temperature. What we're going to be doing right now is finding out the velocity, and this is the amount of air traveling through the system from the dryer itself and where it's connected. Once we have a velocity reading, then we can determine from there how blocked the dryer vent is. In this case, it's actually fairly high, reading right at about 1,800 feet per minute, which is very, very good. It doesn't mean that the dryer vent doesn't need to be cleaned. It just gives us a baseline reading as to how much air is going through the system before we clean it. So now that we've done our airflow test, we're going to go ahead and remove the dryer from the home. In some cases, the dryer is not able to be removed from the area in which we happen to be in right now. This space is wide enough, large enough, and easy enough for any technician to be able to remove the dryer from its location. But some laundry rooms, some closets even, make it extremely difficult to move the dryer completely out of the home. So in which case we would basically move the dryer out away from the wall as far as that we can in order to access the back side where the dryer vent is. So now that we have the dryer out of the way completely, it gives us a very good working space. Obviously, where there's a lot of debris, lint, dog hair, things of that nature that have been underneath the dryer for where the dryer sit, along with where the wall is. Removing all of this gives us the ability to hook up a vacuum, clean out these areas where lint accumulates, and then of course as part of the cleaning process. A lot of our competitors are not doing this type of step. They are simply doing what's called blow and go. And what that basically means is turning the dryer on and using the blower of the dryer to force air through the system and then clean from the exterior, causing all of the lint to be expelled either outside onto the roof or simply outside into someone's garden, pool, spa, things of that nature. That's not really what we're about. We're about trying to capture as much of the lint as we can and keeping it as an inconvenience for the customer with it being expelled elsewhere. Another aspect of cleaning the dryer vent system is not just simply cleaning out what is in the wall, but also taking care of all components of the air system. So particularly the dryer connection hose. Dryer connection hoses range from foil, what we see here, a flexible foil duct, also semi-rigid aluminum duct, which is far more substantial when it comes to strength and integrity, but doesn't give as much flexibility as something like this does. If you've ever seen a slinky before, this is very much similar to what that is. The other, of course, is basically solid or rigid metal duct, and that is not always easy to connect or disconnect from when servicing. So any type of semi-rigid or extremely flexible duct is perfectly acceptable as long as you keep it short as possible. So now that we have our vacuum hooked up down below and ready to trap pretty much everything that we're going to be agitating off of the walls, the agitation process is done in two methods. One in particular, of course, is what you see in front of you right now. This is basically what we call an air line or a skipper line. It is designed to transfer air pressure from our compressor through a tip that allows us to agitate the walls to remove all of the lint buildup, and then of course it being trapped in the airstream is brought back to the vacuum and contained indoors. So what we use are basically this type of tool, which looks kind of funny, but it's extremely important because it allows for air pressure to come out the back end of the tool, causing, again, an ability to remove blockages. At the same time, this is agitating the walls simply by compressed air going forward, and this scrubs the walls clean and removes lint and debris. So it's pretty simple. It's just a matter of putting the tool on and then putting it directly inside. We'll clean the cuff here just to make it a little bit easier to see. This goes down inside like so, and then we connect our air pressure to the tool and then simply turn it on. Once we've hit the bottom, we basically allow the pressure to build back up one more time, and then from that point we'll start to pull back slowly, again doing the exact same thing we did on our way down. This will ensure that we've gotten everything that we can off the walls well and good to obviously increase the airflow and reduce the restriction caused by lint buildup. Cleaning a dryer vent, and oftentimes one of the most used is actually a brushing system. We actually use brushing systems when it is in need of brushing. Oftentimes the reason why we use brushes are for dryer vents where lint has accumulated so well and for so long that there is a type of cake material that is on the surface of the duct, and even as hard as air pressure works to remove that, it doesn't always get it as clean as we want it. So we use brushing systems in order to brush those lines. There is some drawback in using a brushing system, and that is that not all brushing systems will allow you to go through multiple turns. It may pass one or two elbows, but oftentimes making it past a third elbow will result in either breaking the brushing system and end up losing the tool inside the dryer vent, or just simply missing over the areas that you can't get. So brushing oftentimes means going from the top down and from the bottom up in order to do so. So another air tool that we use here at TNT is actually called a straight air or a blow gun. You can see that it has a very long stem. It's been manipulated several times, so you can see how kind of wonky it is, but it still does the purpose it's meant to do, and that's to go down deep inside of the lint trap area to clean out all the lint and let it be expelled through the back, as you'll see in our demonstration. So now that we have the dryer portion of the dryer vent system cleaned out, we brought the dryer back into its place, and then we're going to push it back gingerly, obviously, without smashing the connection hose. Again, the connection hose is a vital part of the dryer vent system. So if the dryer hose is crushed or smashed when the install happens, then ultimately the amount of airflow restriction is greater, causing more back pressure and an even more difficult time for the dryer to do its function. Now that we have the dryer connected back to the dryer vent, making sure that the connection hose is not crushed or kinked in any way, now we're going to turn the dryer back on to make sure that it functions the way it functioned before we started the process, and then also perform a dryer vent airflow test.